This is YNS.
Hello.
YNS, the YouTube News Service.
A Pakistani police chief has said a US citizen in custody over the deaths of 2 men in Lahore last month was guilty of cold-blooded murder. Lahore City Police Chief Aslam Tareen told the news conference that one of the men was killed while running away. He spoke after Raymond Davis was remanded for another 14 days following an appearance at Lahore court. Mr. Davis, 36, has admitted he shot the men, but says he acted in self-defense because they were trying to rob him. The court has ordered the Pakistani government to clarify US embassy claims that Mr. Davis has diplomatic immunity. He is charged on 2 accounts: murder and possession of illegal weapons. Mr. Tareen told the news conference the police investigation and forensic reports show it was not self-defense. His plea has been rejected by police investigators. He gave no chance for them to survive. Mr. Tareen also said that forensic evidence did not support Mr. Davis's claim that one of the motorbike raiders had approached his car window, cocked his gun and pointed at him. No fingerprints have been uncovered on the triggers of the pistols found on the bodies of the 2 men, and tests have shown that the bullets remained in the magazine of the men's gun, not the chamber. It was cold-blooded murder, said Mr. Tareen. Eyewitnesses have told police that he directly shot at them and he kept shooting even when one was running away. It was an intentional murder. Police officials have previously said that the 2 men were street robbers, although conspiracy theorists have suggested that the pair were members of Pakistani intelligence. Mr. Davis was taken to court very early on Friday to avoid the media and possible protests. The BBC's M. Ilyas Khan in Islamabad said, don't know his name. Police are appealing for witnesses or information after a man exposed himself in Grantham to a group of 16-year-old girls. The incident happened approximately 1:25 p.m. on a path which runs between the back of the Stephen and Grantham Girls' School netball courts and a field. The group of 6 girls were returning to school along the path when they came across the man. They did not look at the group or speak to them. He was standing facing the field, exposing himself. The man is described as white, approximately 50 to 60 years old, 5'11" to 6 foot tall, with grey hair, grey stubble, and of stocky build. At the time of the incident, he was wearing a dark jacket, black trousers, and a white shirt. Anyone with any information or could help identify the suspect from the description given should contact Grantham Police Station, quoting the incident number via 0300 111 0300. Incident number 227. The father of missing twin girls from Switzerland wrote a letter saying he had killed his daughters before he killed himself, Swiss police say. Police say the letter was dated 3rd of February, the day Matthias Shep threw himself onto a train in Italy. He and the 6-year-old girls were last seen on a ferry from mainland France to Corsica on 31st of January, but there has been no trace of the girls since. Shep failed to return into his estranged wife at the end of January. The girls' mother, Irina Lucidi, reported Alicia and Livia missing on 30th of January, sparking a major international manhunt. The last envelope, dated February 3rd, contained a letter in which the father said he had killed the 2 girls, saying he was in Cerignola, southern Italy, where he was about to kill himself. I can confirm that in his letter he also said they did not suffer and were resting in peace, Jean-Christophe Saturi said. Swiss police said that Shep sent 8 letters from Bari, Italy to his wife in Switzerland, the first 7 containing a total of €4,400. The 43-year-old father had been looking after the girls for the weekend but failed to return them to their home in St. Sulpice, Switzerland, as planned. He picked up the girls on the 28th of January before travelling to France and Italy. He was found dead in Cerignola in the region of Puglia. He was spotted with the girls in an overnight ferry from Marseille to the island of Corsica arriving on the 1st of February. It is not known if he had the girls with him when he arrived. Police have said Shep was on his own when he sailed to the port of Toulon in France the same day. So, yeah. Police are appealing for witnesses following a burglary at a property in North Foreland Drive, Skegness, that occurred between 6th and 9th of February. The offender gained entry to the garage via a side door and stole 100 bottles of wine from wine racks inside. Anyone with information should contact Skegness Police Station on 0300 111 0300. And hopefully not the piss bloke who did it. A prominent Chinese activist and his wife are reported to have been beaten following the release of a video showing their house arrest. Chen Guancheng and his wife, Yuan Weiyin, were badly injured by security officials, according to the group Chinese Human Rights Defenders. It says the beating came after the release of a secretly shot film showing Mr. Chen as a prisoner in his own home. It said he had been under surveillance since his release from jail last year. Mr. Chen, a blind man who is one of China's best-known activists, was imprisoned after claiming the authorities had carried out forced abortions. Chinese human rights defenders told the BBC that a trusted source informed the organisation about the attack. The person said the beating was related to the video that was released, said the defender's spokeswoman Wang Songlian. The beating was not light, but not life-threatening either. She added that the source had said Mr. Chen and his wife had not been allowed to get medical treatment. The BBC could not independently verify the claims made by the organisation. The film showing Mr. Chen under house arrest was released by the US-based campaign group China Aid. In it, the activist said, "I've come out of a small jail and entered a bigger one." His phone had been cut off and men and vehicles block access to his house. Anyone who tries to help him is threatened, he said. "I cannot take even half a step out of my house. My wife is not allowed to leave either. Only my mother can go out and buy food to keep us going," said the activist who used to offer legal advice to local people. For some reason. Mr. Chen had been held ever since he completed a 4-year prison term in September. He had accused local officials of coercing up to 7,000 women in this province into forced abortions or sterilizations. He is convicted, though, of damaging property and disrupting the traffic. Last month, the US Secretary of State Hillary Clinton highlighted Mr. Chen's case, calling for his release together with the jailed Nobel Peace Prize winner Liu Xiaobo and another detained lawyer, Gao Zisheng. Hope I pronounced their names right. Drivers are being warned about an email being sent out by fraudsters who claim to be upgrading their database, asking recipients to click onto a link to verify their details with the DVLA. This states that the recipients will have their driving license withdrawn if the message is not responded to within 2 weeks. Lincolnshire Police can confirm that the DVLA has not sent out these emails. Anyone who receives an email like this is being warned that it is likely to be an attempt to trick them into giving out their personal details. Fraudsters may go on to use these details to commit identity fraud. Members of the public are urged to delete these emails immediately and not open any attachments. More details are available on the National Action Fraud website at www.actionfraud.org.uk. If you have been subject to a fraud or attempted fraud, please report this by either calling Action Fraud on 0300 123 2040 or use the online fraud reporting tool at their website. Sergeant Ian Jarman, head of Lincolnshire's Police Economic Crime Unit, that's the that when you're pissed, says it's important that people realise that not all emails are genuine, despite seeming to originate from legitimate organisations. Please be constantly vigilant against fraudsters abusing the internet and using emails in an attempt to gain your personal details to commit fraud. A South African police officer has laid charges against Nelson Mandela's ex-wife after the pair clashed when he accused her of speeding. The Solidarity Union accused Winnie Mandela of trying to intimidate Officer Jenny Odendal. She is accused of defeating the ends of justice, assault, and reckless negligent driving. Mr. Odendal and a colleague have since been transferred from their posts. Her driver and bodyguard have filed complaints of intimidation and pointing their firearms against the pair. An investigation has begun into their conduct. Solidarity said that Mr. Odendahl had only been doing his job. Mandikazela Mandela and their bodyguards are the ones whose behaviour on that day should rather be investigated, Dirk Herman, the union's Deputy General Secretary, said in a statement. We will not allow that the political elite intimidate members of the police who are merely performing their duties properly. Ms. Mandikazela Mandela has not commented on the incident. Mr. Odendahl, who stopped their car in December, said she had been driving at 150 km an hour, 30 km an hour above the speed limit.
YNS YouTube News Service Extra.
Police were called to an incident on Kaywood Lane, Gosberton at 9:35 a.m. on Thursday the 10th of February. A 41-year-old man from Dugsford, Peterborough had been arrested on suspicion of arson. Inquiries are going on, and officers would like to appeal to anyone who was in the area at the time who witnessed anyone or anything suspicious. Anyone with information should contact Spalding Police Station, quoting the incident number 83 via 0300 111 0300, or call Crime Stoppers anonymously on 0800 555 111. In rural Guatemala, all it takes is a few minutes for tons of heavy mud to plough into a vulnerable hillside community and swallow its people and their homes. Sometimes the devastation is there for all to see, but not always. I met a couple who lost their children and their home, all of it just gone, Anne Hallam said, recording a trip to the country in 2005. We arrived and it was hard to believe anyone had died. There weren't bodies lying around, and they weren't buried under anything. Hundreds of dangerous mudslides occur every year during Guatemala's rainy season, which lasts from mid-May until October or November. In one extreme case, a mudslide resulted in 700 deaths, according to CEPAL, the UN Economical Commission for Latin America. There are plenty of natural reasons why Guatemalans are vulnerable to mudslides. Frequent earthquakes, hurricanes and heavy rains oversaturate Guatemala's mountainous terrain and muddy the soil. But Hallam said there's another mudslide trigger to consider. Deforestation, or the absence of trees, causes mudslides to occur, said Hallam, co-founder of the Alliance for International Reforestation, a non-profit trying to help the villagers protect themselves from mudslides. Trees are cut for firewood and to make room for the crops, and without realising it, they've taken away their protection. Where it used to be rainforest becomes an open space for the mud to come right on through. Nearly 373 square kilometres of trees are destroyed each year in Guatemala, according to the University of Santa Barbara's Department of Geography. Through her group's efforts, Hallam is inspiring villagers to stop chopping and instead use trees to safeguard their lives and crops against mudslides. So, thank you for watching this episode of YNS YouTube News Service, and be sure to come back again quite soon.